happening, everyone? And welcome to the Systems Lab Live. I am very excited to be with you here tonight. We have part two of content operations, defining your workflow. Part one was on Monday. Did you go back and listen? Did you review? Did you know that I went on live? I hope that you did. I am very excited because tonight we're going to dive in deep and we're going to be talking about workflow management. We're going to define it. We're also going to define what workflows are, and we're also going to explore how ClickUp defines workflows inside of that tool. I'm excited about that. I also want to let you guys know up front that Monday we have a very special guest on Monday. I'm very excited because this particular person is going to be talking about YouTube workflows on Monday. I'm very excited about that. That's going to be very exciting. Oh, wait a minute. Well, it's going to be podcasting slash YouTube, the workflows. Yeah, let me just edit that. I love it. I love it. It's Wednesday, y'all. It's Wednesday, but we're going to have a great time tonight. The app of the week, we talked about the app of the week on Monday, which was Dropbox. I talked about that because when you are organizing your digital assets within your content, within your business, you need to have Dropbox or Google Drive, but I highlighted Dropbox just because of its functionality. You definitely want to make sure that you are organizing your content by months and by weeks and or by themes, but have your content organized in such a way where you don't have to go scrambling for information. I always want to impress upon you that the reason why we talk about everyday processes, we talk about operations, we talk about managing projects, because I know that there are active challenges that you all are facing. I know that you guys are growing in your business. You all want to hire. And these are some fundamental things that I know that you all need to know in your business. Straight up. It is my belief, as I've said before, that project management is one of the most underrated processes that is in business. Yes, the aspect of managing a project, knowing how to organize it, arrange it within your business, more underrated processes in business today. Okay. And this month, we're going to be looking at content operations. As we define that, content operations, these big companies, Social Media Examiner, Nike, Facebook, anyone that you can think of, they have a whole operational system around content that involves people, process, and technology. The people factor. Who's responsible for what? Roles and responsibilities. Process. This is the step by step of what everyone is supposed to be doing. That's directly connected to the people. What's the process? What's the workflow? And then the technology. How are you using technology to leverage the process and the people so that you are not being what's the word for it? So that you're not slow and so that you're being efficient. These big companies, I'm telling you, are hiring. I just saw today Nike hiring a content operations manager. Huge. To go to oversee all of their digital ads and their campaigns and everything in between. So content operations is something that is being used. And so you may say to yourself, well, I'm not Nike, Ashley. Well, you better think of yourself as a corporation. Okay. Think of yourself as a corporation. I'm not saying that you need to hire 80 million people, but we need to be having as business owners, whether you're a small business owner or you already have a team in place, whatever it is, you need to be thinking, all right, what is it in terms of my content, in terms of the operations piece? What can I do to tie together people, process, and technology? So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to pull up something. I would impress upon you, those of you who are on Instagram, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you never miss when I'm going live, and you can get all the notifications and go back and review the information. You know what I'm saying? It's good stuff. Mogul Mike is in the building. He knows all about what I'm talking about. He has a great program too. He knows all of what I'm talking about. What's going on, Renee? Congratulations to you. New business things going on. What's going on, Sandra, Mayella? Y'all are in the building. Rodney, Karen, thank y'all for being here tonight. I love it. Okay, so when we talk about workflows, I want to talk a little bit about that. Workflow management, what is that? How do we define that? It's the process of creating and optimizing workflows to boost your team's coordination and efficiency. Absolutely. The YouTube channel, yes, it's called Systems Lab Live. It's in my bio. Yeah, you click the link. It's going to go to a Yat link, and then you should see it. It's probably about like the third or fourth one down. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. All right. Let me open up and share my screen because I do want you all to like see the definition as I'm talking about the definition itself. Cool, cool. I love it. Let's rock. Let's rock, people. Let's rock. Workflow management. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so that you guys can see this. Workflow management. The process of creating and optimizing workflows to boost your team's efficiency and coordination. Okay. A workflow, what is a workflow? Is a series of activities that you complete to achieve a specific goal or result. Right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about workflows. Some people have said to me, well, Ashley, I don't know if I have a workflow. Everyone, you have a workflow. If you're baking a cake, you have a workflow. Those of you that cook for Thanksgiving, you have a workflow. When you're creating your content, you have a workflow. So let's take the example of baking a cake. You have a workflow. You have a series of activities or steps that you're utilizing to complete and achieve your goal. So I love this because here's what you do with baking a cake. You go and you buy the ingredients. You go to the store, you purchase the ingredients, you get your mixing bowl out. I'm just fast forwarding, right? You get your mixing bowl out, you get your flour, you get your eggs. Okay. You have a step-by-step process to achieve the goal, which is to bake the cake. That is a workflow. So I want you to think about this aspect of creating content. What is your workflow for creating content? Who's with me? When it's just yourself, we often think, all right, self, it's just me. So I just have my content buckets. Shout out to the morning meetup and Jose, talking about content buckets and things of that nature. You have your themes, you got your InShot, you got your Instagram, you got your, what is it, Facebook Creator Studio. You got all these things in between, and you're like, I got this. I just need to know I just need to post, right? But here's what I want to help you to make sure that you have in mind. Even if you develop a simple workflow for just that means sitting down. So when we're inside of the squad, Deeper Than the Brand, Kurt, what he does is he comes on every single Sunday. And every single Sunday, what he does is he says it is Content Strategy Sunday. What is your goal? What is your strategy? Did you know by thinking of that is a part of your workflow? Defining your goal, that can be a part of your workflow. Absolutely. So step one in terms of a content workflow can be defining my strategy and my goal. What's my goal for the week? Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. ClickUp has helped me, and I'll actually bring up my workflow so you guys can see it. but it's actually helped me to visualize my workflow. So I love the fact that something I've added to my workflow is a content value statement. I got that from a YouTube video that I watched a couple months ago. I love the content value statement because it puts it into perspective. Essentially, why is it that I am creating my content and who is it for? And what is a result of that piece of content? See, that had helped me to take a step back and to say, okay, Ashley, you want to just create content on this, but who is it for? What's the purpose? What's the call to action? Oh, I love that. And then ClickUp has helped me to have all the steps. So I don't have to worry about figuring out, okay, where is it that I should be when it comes to the content? Like I don't have to figure that stuff out. Like what's the next step? Because I created some templates. And we'll get into that a little bit later. I'm getting ahead of the game. But the biggest thing that I want you to walk away from is that number one, you have workflows in your business. You have workflows for creating content. You may not have already defined it, but you have it. All right. Why do you need workflows? I'm going to slide this over here. Why is it that you need workflows? All right. Streamline processes to reduce inefficiency. I love that. Sometimes there's too many steps to the process. Who can feel me in that? Put a 1 in the chat if you understand exactly what I mean. Sometimes there's just too much going on, and you just have to streamline what's been inefficient. Number 2, you want to reduce human error. You want to reduce human error. Number 3, better transparency. There's nothing better than having a workflow in place that's going to help the process be transparent so that everyone knows what's going on. Effective communication. That's certainly something that you want to have within your workflow. And the ability to scale. Workflows allow you to be able to scale so that you can be able to add more people into the process that's needed, and that you can then also too level up in the process that you are creating. All right, how to create a workflow. Give you 4 steps to do that. Number 1, define the process. So what are the steps? What are the steps? Shout out to Sandra, who is, in our BU accountability call, working on some of these items as well. What is the process? What are the steps? If you have all the steps, you make sure those are documented, those are written down. Determine who is responsible for that particular step or that process. Train your team. That's going to be crucial. And you can do that in many different ways. You can do that live training. You can also do it recording a video. And by you recording that video, you can send it to that team member. They can learn it. They can study it, and then they can go ahead and implement. One thing about workflows and processes is that they are meant to be bent. They're meant to be broken. They're meant to be adjusted. Nothing is permanent when we're talking about workflows and processes. So be sure to make sure that you understand that you got this workflow. The only way that you're going to be able to improve upon it is if you go and you try it out and see how it works. I love that. Sandra said, I made a checklist and turned it into a step. That's it. That's exactly what you want to do. All right. So a couple of things to learn and to know about when you get inside of a project management tool. They have all sorts of different types of workflows depending on the tool of choice. But if you are looking at ClickUp, they use the status feature to optimize workflows. So what does that exactly mean? they have something called statuses. So a common status that you will always see no matter what it is that you're working on, even if it's pen and paper, to do, in progress, and complete. That at its most basic level is a workflow. Okay, to do, in progress, and complete. And so you can create that at the space level, the folder level, or the list level. All right. So something else that you should know. So some of the default statuses when it comes to the ClickUp default status, they have something called active, done, closed, and not started. So not started is tasks that haven't been worked on. Active, tasks that are currently being worked on. That's like to do. Tasks that done is tasks that are done but need to remain open. And closed are tasks that are totally completed. Tasks that are totally completed. So that is something that is very important to note by default. So we'll look into some of the ClickUp statuses, but I definitely want to show you again a sample workflow. I'm going to show you a sample workflow. Let's see. We're going to. So we're going to look into this right here. All right. So when you're defining the workflow, one thing that is important to note, again, we said that, a workflow, defining that, a process that includes a series of repeatable tasks. A key part of visualizing your workflow is using a flow charting tool like Lucidchart, Whimsical, or Miro. So I use number 2, which is Whimsical, and that's the way that you document your process. And that's what's going to be very key. So let's take for instance, a social media platform, Instagram. Let's take LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, any one of those. Maybe you have all 3. So each one of those platforms that you select should have a workflow. Okay. So right here, what's involved in a workflow? Who's involved? Okay. We said the people, the process, and the technology. So it's the who. So who's involved? Is it yourself? You could be the graphic designer, the copywriter, and you and all the things in between, the blog writer and everything. But others, they may have other people that are involved in the process. That reminds me, when I'm talking through a future podcast episode that will be released, called The Power of Team. In fact, go there right now. After this live stream is over, go to Conversations with Ask Ash. The Power of Team season launched last week, and we're talking all about how to cultivate and develop a team. But one of my guests and their team members, I spoke with the founder and 2 of her team members. Yeah, it was it was 3 of us, 3 of the team members. And a key part of their strategy that they talked about was their content workflow. And so we had someone that is on the team that handles all of the YouTube. So one person records the videos and then they just send it off to the next person, who their responsibility is to do the editing. And then they have someone who transcribes it and does the blog. So I love that because they had a very lean and scrappy process in the beginning. They had to define who's involved, what role do they have, what exactly is the process. So you see that right here, how to create the content, right? Again, this aspect of, what do you need to produce the content and manage the workflow, the technology piece of it. So that could be ClickUp, which is the PM tool, but then you'll also have other tools like Canva. You'll also have Adobe Photoshop. You'll also have some SEO tools, especially if you're using YouTube. You'll have that platform. So you want to think of all of your technology tools, what's involved, how do you use it, who's going to be involved, what step in the process is that tool involved. And so that's going to be a key part of defining your workflow: the people, the process, and the technology. Okay. So let me look over here because I'm looking to bring up a couple of things right here. All right. So there's a couple of different ways that I wanted to throw some examples out there. There's a task-based workflow, and then there's also status-based workflow. Again, specifically talking about ClickUp. And so when I'm talking about a task-based workflow, I'm talking about when you are literally having a task that is going from ideation to creation to review to posted, versus a status-based, which is the to-do, in progress, and complete. Now, there's a way that you can merge both of these things together, right? And I'll show you what that looks like. I'll absolutely show you what that looks like. So let me. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna look in here. So example number 1. To do. Okay, so this is a very simple workflow right here. Example number 1. So you see right here that there's to do, in progress, and complete. So look at this right here. So number 1, the to do, drafting the concept. Okay. That is step 1. Step 2 is creating the caption. Step 3, creating the graphic. Step 4, reviewing the content, the copy, and the graphics. Step 5 is scheduling the content. So you see under the umbrella of each of these, to do, in progress, and complete, you see what is inside. To do is, this is just like I put to do right here as the content bank, meaning that you are thinking of content ideas, not anything that's formalized, but you just have just like all these ideas. Drafting the concept is really narrowing down and niching down on what the goal is of that particular content piece, the audience, and then that call to action. So again, the next step after that is creating the caption, creating the graphic, reviewing the content, and then scheduling the content. Who has any questions so far? Let me just sip a little tea. Anyone have any questions so far? Any questions so far? But this is really important that we're outlining this piece of it. This is just we gonna get into repurposing in another time, because that's a little more advanced. This is a little bit more advanced. So inside of ClickUp, there is also an option where you can add this workflow right here as checklist items. And you can add a second checklist in here inside of it. I'm going to bring up ClickUp so that we can actually see a visual of it, so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. Do 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 do. All right. I'm going to bring you into do I have anything in here? I'm going to share this really quickly for you all. All right. All right. I think we see this up in here. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, let me take my, okay, I think we're good. Okay, cool. So, this right here is to do, this is like not started, right? So here's what I do here. I have a task template. I usually do this. I click on the task. I load up the template. And when I load up the template, it automatically puts together the checklist right here. And so what I do right here is I go with task sample 1. I put the concept right here, which is, again, that's the first step. I'm going to draft the concept, which is, what is this about? What's the premise of it? Then I'm going to write the caption, and then I'm going to create the assets, and then I'm going to review. So that's my checklist. Okay? And that's what works. So I'm going to create the task right here. I am going to refresh it so that it comes. Okay. What happened to the task? Let's see. Let's go again. Task 1, it did not load properly. That's okay. And then I'm going to create the task. Okay, cool. Create the task. So, okay, so this is task 1. It's not started. So the content stages is I'm going to put this in ideation, which means I'm drafting and I'm in the ideation phase of the process. I'm going to click on the content pillar, which is, we're talking about foundations of ClickUp or project management. And then I'm going to say this is an IG carousel. And then the call to action, I'm going to have, maybe it's ClickUp consulting. So what you saw here is you saw an automation that every time that I click on nothing, like the status is 0 to ideation, it automatically goes to in progress. Because if we went back to my flow chart, you saw that in that draft concept stage, that ideation phase, that is under the in progress umbrella. So this is cool because I can start to think of an idea, put some thoughts to it, but maybe I'm not ready to move it on to the next step. So I can just leave it in that not started section. And then if I want to, then I'm moving forward because I've conceptualized the idea, because now I have not only the concept, but I also have the audience. I also have the goal in mind. Then it's automatically moved to in progress, which is great. So then I just go in here and I just work. I go and I write down what the concept is. So I, say the purpose of this post is to educate my tribe on the 3 tips needed for successful project management. And then I go and write the caption. I write the caption. Once the caption is done, then I go and I move this to creation. And then I'm going to go and write the caption. And after I've written the caption, I'm going to go and create the asset. So I'm going to go to Canva, and then I'm going to create the asset. Once I'm done creating the asset, I'm going to review everything, open up Facebook Creator Studio, post, and then I'm done. It's automated. So once this is complete, I'm going to review it, And then once I go here, I'm going to go to scheduled. What's going to happen is it's going to automatically move this to a different list. It's going to move to a published list. So now it's in published status. Did y'all see that? You're going to have to rewind the tape on that one. But that's how that works. Cool? Y'all like that? Y'all like that? Okay. What are some other things that I can show you that's going to be beneficial and to your content operations? I am going to take a look-sees. Let's see. What's here? This is also something that is crucial. Oh, okay, inboard bed views and docs. Okay, that's great. Okay. All right. Something that you can do as well in terms of the process is do a content review. So this is something you could do on a monthly basis, a bi-weekly basis, something that is a regular cadence. And again, lessons learned. You guys know I'm huge on lessons learned. What you can do inside here is that you can say, all right, what's working well, what's not, and what can you apply for the next week or maybe for, a next strategy. Okay? This is cool because what you can do is you can bring up all of your analytics from Instagram, from LinkedIn, from Twitter, from wherever, and you can actually look at your content and see how it is performing. Again, this is something that you should be doing on a regular basis so that you know how to improve your content process. Okay? Instrumental to your success. All right, I'm going to go over to someplace else. And okay, I think I'm going to go to the branding and content creation space because they definitely want to talk about the content strategy and planning SOP. This is the content strategy and business recipe guide. Something that is instrumental to, again, documenting the process and then getting the team members involved. Okay. So here's what you'll want to do here. Again, goals. What's your overall strategy for your content? This could be something that you're doing on a quarterly basis. Therefore, you can just have your goals for Instagram, for LinkedIn, for Facebook, and Twitter. You can write what the goal is, and then you can write inside here the description of it. The personas, you can have a persona overview. Again, you'll definitely want to dive deep into not only just what they like and what newspapers they read and what industry that they're in and all of that. You'll want to dive deep into their psychographics in terms of how do you capture their attention in terms of sales, in terms of marketing, what type of content do they like. You'll want to dive deep into that. Let's see, we'll go into the messaging. I like this because, again, you're sort of naming your messaging pillars, the description, like a short description, and then the persona. Who does that belong to? The content type, that is Instagram carousels, LinkedIn Live. What else? Twitter or tweets, that is TikTok videos. Social media channels. So on erring on the side of caution, you definitely want to just have the URLs. Do not put your password or any link information in here. In fact, you should just put right in here, LastPass, because that's the secure way to share information so that you do not get hacked. LastPass. You'll definitely need to have that. Content creation tools, same concept. You can name the tool. And again, LastPass, put LastPass right here. Team member roles and responsibilities. And so remember when we were talking about in the beginning about the 3 pieces to this content operations process is people, the roles and responsibilities. What's the role? Who are they? Their email. And this is really great because if you have contractors and you have new hires, and then you know who people are. If you go into these individual tabs, again, the message, the mode. You don't really need to put the mode here. We'll just delete that column. The persona, the content bucket, and then the schedule, the days of the week, and the hashtag tracker. So this is a great way to really just outline what it is that you want to do. And then you can go back into the list view and then just start to churn the content out. But this is a great way to kind of get your strategy in mind, just get it all out on paper. Same thing with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, content creation, business recipe. Again, this is how you're doing a deep dive into all of the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. Centralized, all in one place, with the ability to share with new people, but also with existing team members. Hey, I want to share with you our current process. I want to review this with you. Do you see anything that's missing? Great opportunity to look at your process and look at how that can be improved. So that is all that I have to share with you, just in terms of workflow management, defining the workflows, defining how ClickUp does it, and then showing you the example of how you can utilize statuses in ClickUp in terms of the content creation piece of it. Questions? Does anyone have any questions? We'll take some Q&A. We will take Q&A. Right? I love it. Any questions? You all good? You can certainly send me a direct message if you have any questions. You certainly want to text live to 626-722-5444. And that is a way to have a post live conversation with me, ask some questions, and I will hit you back with an explanation or a perspective that I'd love to share with you on something that has been shown on the Systems Lab Live. All right. Well, very good. Thank you all so much. Monday is the first guest that we're having for the Systems Lab Live. It's going to be very exciting. We'll get the promo out ASAP so that you guys can prepare. But that is Monday, 8 o'clock. And we're going to be getting into some really good stuff, getting real specific with it. So this is exciting. And yeah, we'll be talking to you all soon. Have a great night.